it comes in peaks and pitfalls in some ways. The music business does. Countries produce excellent bands and then for a time they disappear. Looking back into history, I suppose 82, 83 was the year for Australian groups with yourself, Icehouse and Men at Work, and you really put this country on the map and said to the rest of the world, including America and Britain, the two most important music markets at the time, Australia has produced and will produce as much. Now, that seems to have waned a little bit lately. Men at Work are certainly not around. Icehouse, as you have said, have been heavily touring, so they've not been in Europe as much.
That, I think, was almost inevitable, and I was very wary of the whole fashion of Australian popularity, especially as it was applied to America, because it seemed to me that it was built on a lot of fad marketing, and it worried me right from the beginning. It's unfortunate that those kind of mechanisms are built into that kind of popularity, but hopefully at least it's impressed the point that it exists there, and there is still a certain amount of, if not on any other level, underground interest in Australian music which didn't exist before, and that to me is bonus enough.
Perhaps in Britain the fads and fashions in music are even stronger than anywhere else, the image that a band makes and the kind of music that they record. And in the case of Icehouse, there have been criticisms levelled at them that they sound a little bit too like Roxy Music or a little bit too much like David Bowie. How much are you concerned about those kind of criticisms, and do you actually objectively try to make it sound as unique as you can, or do you not worry at all?
I'm still pretty much at the mercy of my own shortcomings, and I've almost in all situations in music, whether it be writing songs or in the studio or playing live, I'm constantly following my nose. A lot of people are held up as being very calculated, and I have a great deal of respect for them, and probably a certain amount of envy as well. But I'm still pretty much learning, and that's how I consider myself, to be a student of music, and that's the way I think. So I do everything with reasonably honest intention, and whatever the way it comes out, that's it.
Perhaps a continuing student, but also you did graduate at one point in your career as a classical student, I think in Sydney or somewhere like that.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I spent a lot of time in classical music, but I haven't been involved in that for probably 7 or 8 years. Although I spent a good 10 years, I guess, learning and studying seriously classical music.